Making money in business is the easiest thing you can do. I can make money left all day long, no problem. But all the other stuff that requires to make a business to be legit and really weather storms like that, even something like '08 or '09, is a whole different animal. And that's what separates business owners from hobbyists. I had 6 kids under 4 years old. And I started realizing, I literally woke up one day and said, if I stay on this path of business first, I'm going to ruin my children's future. They're going to have broken marriages, no relationships. They're going to be so focused on business being the scorecard that everything else will be put to the side. They'll just climb over people. They'll get to the top of the mountain, but there won't be any friends with them. They won't have any family. They won't have anything. And I'm like, I'm not going to do that. Here's I call it the entrepreneurial delusion, that someone you're going to hire is going to help systemize your business and build your business. That is a delusion at just a grand scale. They want to come and work. They are not coming there to build your business. They're coming there to do what they do and get paid for it. And they go home and be with their family and do their thing. Because if they could do it, they would do it, right? And they wouldn't be working for you. You'd probably be working for them.
If you want to build a legitimate, profitable online business without shiny objects, without the hypey gimmicks, and without the stress and overwhelm, if you want to make more money without having to be present online all day, every day, pumping out content that nobody sees and hustling DMs to generate leads and sales, then this is the place for you. Welcome to the Digital Trailblazer Podcast, your online business university, where you'll learn how ordinary people start from ground zero with no influence, no email list or audience to sell to, and no business or marketing experience, and go from working 9-to-5 jobs to building successful 6- and 7-figure online businesses and all the steps in between. Learn the strategies that worked and what didn't. Learn the mistakes that they made and how to avoid them, and then learn their plans for scaling their businesses and taking things to the next level. All so that you can build your business faster and easier and make more money without sacrificing the things that are important to you in your life. I'm your host, Leah Ray Getz, and with me is my husband, Todd. Now, let's get to it with today's guest. Welcome, Digital Trailblazers. With us today is Richard Walsh, and I'm very excited to have this conversation because what we're seeing in the online space, we've been around for a long time now, I think 8 years at this point, and it was the Wild West for many years where you could do a lot of crazy things and make money. And definitely there were some folks out there who were doing that, and it didn't necessarily have to be ethical or it didn't have to be the best program or there's a lot of just craziness that has occurred in the history of online courses, coaching, all of that stuff. And we've made some shifts, right? Within the last few years, what we do in the online space has really gotten much more mainstream, especially post-COVID. And there's been an explosion of people who are offering coaching, offering courses, and it's really created a ton of competition. It's really forced, and in a good way, online business owners to get more businessy, to really figure out more stuff and to have more structure and do things the right way. And so I think there's definitely a silver lining to this. And I think Richard has a really good expertise to bring to this conversation to help us put on that true businessman or woman's hat and kind of help us clean up the industry, do some great stuff and create something long-term. So welcome, Richard. We are super excited to have you with us today.
Thanks, guys. I'm excited to be here.
Yes, welcome. So tell our audience, we're going to get into some cool detailed stuff in just a minute, but tell them about yourself a little bit, what you do and how you got started with that.
Yeah, so I am a business coach. Okay, so I help businesses create more freedom, profit, and impact in their business for them. Started a long time ago, got out of the Marine Corps in 1987, started working, realized that working was pretty not exciting. There's not really a future. I also knew I don't like ceilings. I don't like limits. So people would brag about how much they made, whether they're a union worker. I can make $31 an hour. And I would say, yeah, but you can't make 32. They won't let you. I go, I can't be a part of that. I want to work as much or as little as possible. So that grew into creating a custom water feature business. I got into the whole thing with that. That scaled great. I did really good. I was award-winning, best in the nation. '08, '09 hit. And like the big collapse that affected everyone, it affected me as well, basically caused my business to evaporate overnight. And at that time, married, 6 little children, six kids under 4 years old, lost my house, lost business, lost everything. So I had to start over. The one caveat I always tell people, I go, yeah, the economy was bad, but my business didn't collapse because of the economy. It collapsed because of me. because what I didn't do in my business. Because making money in business is the easiest thing you can do. I can make money left all day long, no problem. But all the other stuff that requires to make a business to be legit and really weather storms like that, even something like '08 or '09, is a whole different animal. And that's what separates business owners from hobbyists. Like again, money will feed you like a drug. Every 5,000, you go, oh, you just sit back and that's great. Okay. I made another 10,000. Oh, I'll be good for another week. And that is a pretty addictive thing, but you still forget. I pushed a lot of stuff to the left of my desk. I'll get to that. Oh yeah, I know I need to do, I'll get to that. So that really what happened from the collapse. So again, that's on me. Just had to rebuild, start over, didn't know exactly what I was going to do, relocated, did a lot of that fun stuff. But then I said, I'm going to do it again. What I'm going to do, something completely different. I didn't want to do what I already done for 20 years. So I started differently. So I went into the fitness industry. I was already in that. I loved it. And I opened up a gym, boot camp style training, did that. That went really well. So I grow that. And I got into my contracting business. So I hit a roofing business, siding windows, scaled that really good. And my whole key on that, guys, was really now building a business where I would be around my family. I would be outside the business. For 20 years, I focused on business only. Business was first. It was everything. I won all the awards. I was on TV. I was in magazines. I was, everyone wanted me. I could charge whatever I wanted and things just seemed awesome. All the boxes were checked for outward success. Okay. But that class really showed me what I was missing. So at that same time, real quick, I had 6 kids under 4 years old. And I started realizing, I literally woke up one day and said, if I stay on this path of business first, I'm going to ruin my children's future. They're going to have broken marriages, no relationships. They're going to be so focused on business being the scorecard that everything else will be put to the side. They'll just climb over people. They'll get to the top of the mountain, but there won't be any friends with them. They won't have any family. They won't have anything. And I'm like, I'm not going to do that. So that was a big epiphany. That's 20 years of striving for number one. And I really just left that, wouldn't have anything to do with it again. I wanted to change that. That was a big motivator for me, the big epiphany there. And so that's what really helped me create business the way it should be run. How can other people do this work and I still own it? How can I do what I like to do? I like the visionary part. I like the growth part. I like landing big clients. How can I just do that? I don't do accounting. I got like a D in math for 4 years straight. It took me 4 years to get out of general math in high school. Okay. I shouldn't be doing anything with numbers. I don't even spend money. I'm just terrible at it. So I said to other people, okay, I got to get experts, going to get experts. I built that. So I built that circle around me in the business that enabled me to focus on what I call our 5%. The 5% of the business only I can do. No one's going to drive vision like the founder, right? The visionary. No one's really going to connect with big clients. Literally, Jeff Bezos is in $100 million deals. He's at the table. He's not off somewhere flying around taking vacations. That man's still working, right? So it's important. He can do that stuff. So that's how I built these businesses. And then other businesses started asking me, well, how'd you do that? How do you go from all that to nothing to this again? So I started helping them, getting in the mentor capacity, right? So just here's some advice, do this. And that was working really well, helping them. So as an entrepreneur, what do you become then? Oh, mentor's no good. That's the free position. I need to be a coach where I get paid. So let's build a business. So I built a coaching business, wrote a book called Escape the Owner Prison, became a bestseller to help people, and then built an academy around that, started coaching. That started going really well, turning businesses around and helping them create that freedom and profit and impact. And it kind of brings us today, and that's where we're at.
I love it. So, and I think a lot of people create online businesses for time freedom. They create, I'm going to be a coach. I'm going to sell courses. I'm going to do all these different things. And I'd say slowly, but no, it's usually pretty quickly. They end up, it's 60 hours a week. They just get sucked in, right? Because they've got big goals and they're wearing all the hats and they're doing so much. So I think this is super important for our audience to look at. Like, how do we take like a coaching and course creation type business model and focus on the 5%? What kind of systems, what kind of processes do we need to build up? And at what stages can we start building them to be able to focus on that 5%?
Yes, this is like a two-parter. Okay. So I'm going to just step back a little bit to like just before you launch your business, what you should do. And then we'll talk about and I'll show you how it works and how you put this in place. So this is called exit strategy. Okay. So people are like, what? I haven't even started my business. You're talking about getting out of it. Yeah, exactly. If I'm in New York and I want to go to California and sit on the beach, if I get in my car and start and I don't have a map, the good news is I'm going to see the entire United States. So I'm driving around. But I'll probably end up in the Gulf of Mexico instead of the Pacific Ocean and think I arrived. Okay. And I'll never reach my goals. That's what not having an exit strategy will do to your business. That's why you're going to wear all the hats. That's why you're never going to hire someone or be scared to hire someone or hire someone too early or too late, whatever that is, right? So let me break down the exit strategy real quick for you. So basically what you're going to do is you're going to go to the end. That's exit, right? So when do I want to exit? Do I want to do this for 5 years, 10 years, 20 years? Do I want to hand it down to my children? Whatever that looks like, right? Whatever your end is, you have to decide on what it is. I'll put that in place. Okay. And when you do end, how do you exit? Do you have a dollar amount you want? Okay. What's that going to look like? How are you going to support yourself once you leave the business? Yes, you might get a big check, but let's say you're making 7 figures a year as a salary. Your business is doing great. If you exit, that million a year is gone, right? So how do you replace that? So there's a strategy for that as well. So once you determine the time, the amount you're going to get out, now we reverse engineer. Now you start to work your way backwards. So what do I have to make my business attractive to get, let's say I want $10 million for my business. Okay, that's my goal. If I get that, I can sell it for 10 million. Someone walks in, they hand me a check, I shake their hand, I'm out, they're in. Nobody knows the business sold, right? That's my goal, which is a good goal. But what do I have to do to get there? How do I make something attractive for someone? How do I get back my $1 million a year I'm making from income, taking the active business income? So, okay, maybe I'll take that million that I'm making and start acquiring assets. Maybe it's real estate. Maybe it's buying other businesses. Maybe there's other investment strategies, whatever that is. I want to start creating that. So the reverse engineer means, okay, if I need to replace, I'll need about $83,000 a month coming in passively, right? Where I'm not doing it. So what does that mean? How many houses do I have to buy to equal that from an income standpoint, right? It said, I got to have like 13 houses a month I got to buy over the next 10 years or whatever that is. Business-wise, invest. So I understand that number. Now I'm allocating funds from my active business income to create these assets. Now we're moving along. Now I'm going, okay, I have to get to that exit. So my whole focus is build this business to reach this exit point. So if I'm doing that, what does that look like? How much new business do I have to get? How do I use my existing customers to garner more income? How do I bring that? So you start to build the business that way. Now, if you understand those points, you understand, okay, at this point, I'll be able to hire someone. Hey, it may just be a virtual assistant. I could be 6 weeks in, I hire my first virtual assistant because I understand what I need. That's a low cost, low barrier to entry, get them helping me out. I've removed one hat that I'm wearing of the 9, right? So I give them that. And you're able to see every step you're going to go when you get the next person, the next move. Now, when you're becoming successful, you get a lot of people that kind of really love your coattails. And they want to jump on board and they have great opportunities for you to spend money and make money and they want to sell this to you. And I said, yeah, that is awesome. Let me do this. I'm going to run this through my exit strategy. If what you're offering me gets me closer to my exit and faster, it's a go. If it doesn't, it's a hard no. You're not going to distract me with this little bit of nonsense because I can make a little extra. Stay focused on the main thing and drive there, right? So put all that together. Now, even if you start reaching your passive income, like you're getting to the goal, well, you're still making that million a year. You can either turn that right back around, put it directly back into the business for expansion or growth, right? You can prepare that. You're a big draw on the company, right? If you're pulling a 7-figure salary, that's a lot of draw. You're probably the biggest draw in the entire company. Again, that's okay if you use it properly and get a replacement. Now you can put that back into the business, which is going to do what for new owners? It's going to be attractive, right? That number in the bottom line is going to start going back up. They'll understand there's where it came from, but still it's there. Okay. It's not critical. So if I came and bought your business, I didn't need the money like to support me. I wanted to grow another business. That makes it very attractive because I can keep that million that you put back in working in the business to generate profit. Does that make sense?
Yeah. And I know for a lot of online business owners, if we're talking to coaches, course creators, or people who have digital products, the idea of selling your business has probably not even come across their minds, right? I think a lot of people come into this industry thinking that, well, yeah, I'll just make millions of dollars, and then at some point I'll just stop, right? But I will say that, and I forgot exactly when it was, but one of our past episodes, we actually had somebody on here on the Digital Trailblazer podcast that does specialize in selling digital online businesses, right? And so it can be done. You can do it that way. But I think the flip side of that is maybe you don't sell, but you build it to a point where it can operate without you. And I think either way that you do it, even if you want to sell it, you've got to get it to that point where it can run and it can operate and it can make money without you. So I think either way, we need to figure out how to do that. Can you help us to understand more of the process of how do we basically build yourself out of the business so that we can get to that point?
Yeah. So there's three words: automate, delegate, eliminate. Those are the three things you want to think about: automate, delegate, eliminate. Automation, we can understand that. The good news is, especially in a digital business, there's no greater time to be able to input automation.
Mhm.
Again, automation can include a virtual assistant. You have the software technology, you have autoresponders, you have, Calendly can do half your work, right? You can buy one thing for $20 a month and it can do half your work for you, right? You can follow up thank yous. It can do everything. It's amazing what's out there to automate your business, right? So you need to focus on that. That's your beginning steps. Okay. Delegation, this is where it gets dicey for people. They think they just tell someone to do it. Okay. And then they realize that doesn't work. They're not getting it done. They're no good. Yeah, I said, well, they're no good. I can't get any good people. They say all that. You hear all this. Oh, the kids these days, right? No one wants to work. No one wants to do anything. Yeah. And I get it, but that's not the problem. The problem is, just like I said, it was my problem about the collapse, why I lost my business, is your problem. People are leaving. Is your problem. No one will stay. Okay. It's your problem. You can't get good talent because you haven't built something to attract good talent. You haven't built something that'll make good talent stay. You haven't built something that good talent can come in and thrive in. They can run full speed with the ball to the end zone. A lot of owners, whether it's digital or brick and mortar, whatever, they get this, and it's ego and pride is what it is. They need to be the best. They started this business. I'm the best. I know this is the best. And they have a difficult time letting go and giving it to someone else. And the reason is because they don't give them, again, somewhere to go. So it looks like this. So if I have a position, I'm going to hire a sales manager. Okay, I got a sales manager, right? We're selling digital product. I need a sales manager. So what I have to do before I even place an ad for someone or talk to someone to get a referral is I have to build out the position. So you know how you see a job description? You go online on Indeed or something, you get a job description. That's all fluff. That's salesmanship, right? All we're doing is making this job attractive, where it is, what you do, stay at home, blah, blah, blah. And that's all good. That's so they'll fill out the app. So it really is, there's not a lot there. It's pretty shallow. Once they get past that, they do the app, they come in. Now what I've had to build is what I call all the job functions. Job functions are the what you do in this position specifically. You do this, it could be 7 things, could be 17 things, could be 37 things. And the reason we don't put that on the application or the Indeed site, because people will freak out and think they should be paid about $1 million a year to do those things. Not knowing that, you see this job function, you do this every third Wednesday for 10 minutes.
Right.
Okay. It's not like you're doing all this stuff every day, but you have to build it out that way. So now when they come into the interview process, you basically, let me show you what you're going to actually do. So here's all the functions, what this 17, 37, whatever. And now notice this column is the how to do it. I built out exactly how to do it, right? And then there's another column that is the actual training for the how. So I've automated the training so I don't have to train them. You're going to follow these videos, these screen recordings. You're going to do this. You have all of this there. Yeah, we'll do some role play. We'll do some in-person stuff and all that. That's good. But for the most part, you're going to get in. You're going to be up to speed in 7 days. And you're going to run with the ball. You're going to take your expertise. Now, you're competent, but you're not competent in our methods. Maybe you're not using that. Maybe we're using a different CRM or different software platform, or we have a different way of approach. You're going to learn that quickly. Now you can run, right? And then you're good. You're not really going to need to talk to me as long as you're doing your job. That's where A players will stay because they want to come. If I'm a great closer, I'm a sales manager and a salesman. I want to come and let me close. Let me make money for your company and myself. Let me run. Don't bother me. Okay. I don't want a mystery every day. I don't want to show up to work and it's a mystery. What I'm supposed to do, how I'm supposed to do it. That's where most everyone drops the ball, right? Because they just haven't built it out for them. And they think, here's the I call it the entrepreneurial delusion, that someone you're going to hire is going to help systemize your business and build your business. That is a delusion at just a grand scale. They want to come and work. They are not coming there to build your business. They're coming there to do what they do and get paid for it. And they go home and be with their family and do their thing. Because if they could do it, they would do it, right? And they wouldn't be working for you. You'd probably be working for them, right? So we have to keep that reality base there as an entrepreneur. That way you strive. So now you've done delegation, right? Now you can give anybody in the company, if it's built out, they know exactly what to do, how to do it, when to do it, right? Easy. I don't have to I'm not going to be frustrated. They can get it done. Now the last one is elimination, right? We got to automate, delegate, and we got to eliminate. So what do you eliminate? Okay, costs. We want efficiencies, inefficiencies. You want to eliminate that, all the general stuff, right? The fat. You want to trim the fat. But the biggest thing you want to eliminate is you. They need to eliminate you from all these steps, from all these hats, from all this business. We want to get you to that 5% that only you can do. Work on the vision, drive the clients. So that is your number one way to get there as quickly as possible. So after you start up, that first 2 years is really hard, right? We get that. But what happens is next thing you know, it's 10 years and you've repeated the first 2 years 5 times. And that's why they don't grow. That's why they don't scale, because they didn't have a map to follow and know when to get the next person and how to delegate properly. So they weren't able to keep a team. Now you build a great team. You create an incredible culture, right? People want to be there. Now you focus on the 5%, keep bringing the work in so they can keep going, right? That's one of your main jobs. You're the guy who keeps the work coming in. You make sure everyone is on task, that the vision's moving forward and we're achieving what we set out to achieve.
Yeah, that's with what you just said there. I think that first part about automating, that's the part for online business owners. That's the part that we get. That's the part that we understand that we need to do. And we're looking for the right systems, the right automations, the right tools to be able to automate our business as a solopreneur. And then we get to a point where we realize that we've plateaued. And if we want to grow, we need to start bringing people in. Either that, or typically what happens is people have maybe a problem area in their business where they know it's a problem and they can't solve the problem. And so their instinct is to outsource the problem, to hire somebody to deal with that problem for them. And that's where you have people come in and then they leave right away, or they come in and they just waste a bunch of money, waste a bunch of your time, and because you're paying them, but you're not getting the result that you want. And you're even less profitable and you're stressing out even more because you're making even less money than you were before. Not only are you paying them, but you're making less money because they're not even doing as good of a job as you were doing. So outsourcing that problem is something that, and we did it too. We've tried to outsource our problems at the beginning, but we learned very quickly that, and this is the way that we had to explain to us, is that getting to say multiple 6 figures, or you can even get to 7 figures by focusing on what to do. What is going to get me to that multiple 6 figures or 7 figures? But to get to like a consistent 7 figures, 8-figure business, you need to switch from what to do to who is going to get me there, because it's bringing in the right people and training them up and investing in them that's really going to make your business run by itself and grow by itself without you having to be involved in every single little thing. And I know Leah runs our sales team. That's been a big process for us, bringing in the right people, training them up. And it's a months-long process to get them to a point where they're really coming along and they're actually helping the business rather than taking up more of our time.
That's very insightful. The who is what's so important, right? So like, that's something people ask, well, how do I hire the right people? How do you get that? Well, yeah, I know I need someone who's really good, but there's some people who are excellent at what they do. I don't even want to sit next to them. Okay. They don't have the character to be in the same room with me. Okay. So I don't care. They're not coming here. I'm not bringing cancer into my business.
Right.
Okay. That's going to ruin everybody. Right. So there's a huge element of that. Like, yeah, okay, digital, you're doing all this, but now it's time I got to bring in a human being, whether it's physically in the office or on the digital team, right? So you're gonna have your meetings and all this kind of stuff. So I use kind of like a three-step process. So I'm looking for calling, character, and competency. Okay. So competency being third for a reason. It's the least important of those three. I can always skill someone up. I can get them new certifications. I can send them places. I can teach them. That's easy. Obviously, they're going to come with some competency. Character. Okay. Number two, character. I can't do anything about that unless they're like 7 and they come over and be okay. I can help them out. But like an adult who has poor character or a character that doesn't match the culture of my business and what I'm trying to build, can't have them. Okay. Calling's a biggie. People don't think about that. So yes, they're really good at what they do, but are they called to do it? Right? Does it mean, do they get like excited about it? Like I'm called to be a business coach. I can do this 12 hours a day, not even take a breath. Just what we're doing. I can talk about it, do it. I change business all the time, right? I can do it all the time. I'm called to do this. So your people are the same way, and examples are as you interview them, like, well, what do you do for a hobby? What do you do in your spare time? And say you're hiring for a manufacturing job. Oh, I need a guy operating this machinery, doing this, and maybe you got to tinker with it a little bit here and there. So I asked him what he does for a hobby. And he said, well, I like to restore old cars. So I restore old cars, rebuild them. I'm like, okay, there's a guy who's got attention to detail. He can fix things. He can do things. He likes it. So those issues come up here, he'll jump right on and take care of it, right? Customer service. You have a customer service person. I love talking to people. They got to love to talk to people, right? If it's a chore to handle people's complaints, they ain't called. They have to thrive in that place, right? So you got to find out where that is. And if you can put those three things together, the right character, the calling, and a decent level of competency, who are willing to learn, who don't think they know everything and they're willing to learn, that's when you build a great team. That's when you get the right people, because they understand what they're coming into and they want to be there. They really want to be there because they're going to be given this opportunity to drive something forward.
So I know for us and what we've built here at Digital Trailblazer, building a team has been definitely rewarding, but also very challenging and a huge next step. It's definitely a step up, right, for a lot of solopreneurs to do that. And I think a lot of folks want to just hire someone, have them hit the ground running and go, where the reality is much different than that. Like you go through a really good interview process. You really make sure that character, that alignment, everything is there. I know what we do and what we have our team do is different. Like they've got to have some base skills, but there's no way they're going to understand our systems and our processes or anything like that. So we need to set people up for success. And we need to have really good expectations. Like, hey, the first X amount of months is learning. Like you're going to be doing, especially when there's some commission stuff involved, having that stage set really well. It's going to be a journey. It's going to be a process. This is your potential and this is where we want you. But everyone going in knowing that person can't hit the ground running. That's really unrealistic and it's setting them up for failure, and putting together great training material, great SOPs. And then, I work with my sales team every single day. Every day. We're looking at call reviews. We're going through all of their stuff and pouring into your people so that they can step up. So I think it's just hire someone, bring them in, they'll hit the ground running and take off. I think that's this myth, that's this unicorn that running around out there that people think that might work, but definitely not what we've seen.
Yeah, for sure. And I think what a lot of people miss that we work with our clients with, and that we call it strategic vision. And this is what's going to help you filter from the very beginning who's going to even interview. Okay, really, really important. Let me explain how we do that. So a strategic vision, you've heard mission statements, right? In the old school days, they have them. Now we're going to be the best here and best there, and we're going to satisfy our customers. Just the biggest bunch of nonsense ever. And that serves only one person, that thing, and that's the owner. It's just an ego trip. It's wallpaper to everybody else in the company. I walk by, don't read, it has no meaning, not going to change anything in their life at all. So let's call it not effective. Okay. So what we want to do is we want to create strategic vision. Strategic vision, what it does is going to turn your business into a vision-driven business, not a mission statement, not a mission, but a vision-driven. And whose vision is it? The owner's. So the owner's going to create this. And what it does is, I call it an internal document. So you're going to do the customer experience from the very first call or inquire, whatever it is, all the way through the whole process out to the end and beyond from the inside of the business. What does this specifically look like at every stage of the business and every single person who's involved in it? So what you're going to do is you're going to write this, and I combine both story and practical right together. So you're going to be weaving through a story with every person who's either on the team now or going to be. So again, we're also future casting this 18 to 24 months in the future. It's not what you're doing right now, it's what you're going to accomplish. Because we all know what we're doing right now, but no, where are we going? That's the vision, right? That's the vision. We want to make it simple so you can run with it and people can go. So now every person on the team sees how they're the hero in this journey. And without you, the outcome doesn't happen, right? Without that, we can't serve the people we want to serve. We can't get that product. And you read about John used to work for this sales company and they worked him to death. The commissions were terrible, blah, blah, blah. Here, John gets X, Y, Z. He's able to do this. He works this amount of hours. They describe his day and how it's changed his life. Oh, how cool. And then it's about, here's some more detail. Next position. Then next they go to to the coach. The coach now is a remote position, blah, blah. They're making this much money. They used to get paid, $100 an hour. Now they're making $450 an hour because they work for our company because we understand value and we have programs. We deal with the right things. Wow. Wouldn't you like to work here? So they want to come here and do that kind of work. And this is 6 to 10 pages long in your business. It has some pictures. I mean, mine, and I'll tell you, I'm an expert at this. I do it for Sharpen the Spirit coaching. 14 hours it took me to write it and finish it. So it's work, right? Yeah. But you read it, you'll want to work for me. Okay, it's readable. It's enjoyable. You take it through. There's pictures. We talk about the cool stuff we do outside of work, as a team and things like that. But once you build that and everyone knows, now we take that strategic vision and someone wants to apply for a position. I say, okay, I'm going to give you this. Here's our strategic vision. Please read that before our 5-minute phone call. We're going to have a 5-minute phone call we'll set up. Okay. Get on a 5-minute phone call. What's the first thing you ask? Did you read the strategic vision? Now, if they say, no, I didn't get to it. I go, all right, you have a wonderful day. And you hang up the phone. They already can't follow direction.
Right.
You had one thing, right? You had one thing. You can't do that. So we're not going to continue the conversation. If they do, the next question is, where do you see yourself fitting in? Right? So if say you have a warehouse, right? You comes, oh, I am the warehouse manager. Dude, I love it, man. I love that stuff dialed in. I can do this. They start telling you. I go, calling. Remember calling? There's a dude called to run a warehouse. He gets a little excited about it, right? I'm just using that as an example. But so you take it through, okay, great. Then you proceed with the rest of the phone call, get the basics. All right, we set up for an in-person or the next level. Like you're saying, it's a detailed hiring process. There's multiple interviews with multiple people. Strategic vision, 5-minute, anyone does a 5-minute, doesn't matter. Because they're asking 5 questions. And that's it. They want those answers. And there's disqualifiers on them. If it's a no, we're done. If it's a yes, 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 okay. And that's it. We make them very simple so we can weed out the C players very, very quickly. Next is the first in-person or Zoom, or however you do it, right? Depending on how your business is run. Now that person takes them through the next series of questions, right? So 10, 11 questions on that. They, again, get an insight. And what I did on the questions was you have a question, what's your 5-year plan? What do you want to do? Whatever those are. But underneath them, I build out what's the outcome as the interviewer that I'm actually looking for. So great, I can write down all the answers, but what am I actually looking for when you ask these questions? So if the outcome is spelled out, whoever is interviewing them understands what they're looking for, because unless they get those outcomes, they can't move on to interview number 2. Right? So we understand this, we build it out. This is part of the systemization. This is so that you can plug different people in to do this position, right? Without this extensive training. Then they move to the 3rd interview, right? And that may be with the final owner. That may be the 4th interview, or it's with 2 people. So you get multiple opinions coming in. They walk through the next level. They're getting closer. Because I really feel, and I think you guys do the same thing, you want people to earn the position. You don't want people to get a job. You want them to earn a job. If they have to go through a number of hoops and you're thorough and you're detailed and you're systemized, you are setting the expectation of how the rest of the company runs. If it's this off the cuff phone interview, you sound great. When can you start? Can you start on Tuesday and it's only Monday and they're working, they're not employed? Like one key ingredient I have is they have to be employed.
Mm,
I don't interview the unemployed
really?
because you're unemployed for a reason.
Mm,
Unless you tell me they laid you off yesterday, okay, and you had to get some, and you have and the story makes sense. I want the working people.
mhm,
They're of value to someone.
right?
So unemployed guy, come on, we go down that hole. You know all the stuff. So I think even if you're somewhat established, you're getting established, like make that a priority because you need someone who's working. Because I've been off for 3 months. I just needed a change. Oh yeah, I gotta go. I'm, that's above my pay grade. Working on your issues. You know what I mean? Like work where you have to support yourself. You got to provide. So you build it out that way, right? So here's how that strategic vision works. Now they all get to come in. Now they're fulfilling the strategic version. So we have strategic goal setting built in. How do we get to this thing that's future cast?
Mhm.
But it's not say, hey, you need to get there. Hey, here's a goal. Run over there. Right. So, okay. And you know how it is. Most people don't know how to achieve a goal. Not many people achieve any goals. Or let's use the New Year's example. They don't make it past 3 weeks. They lose 3 pounds and go to the gym 6 times and they never go again for the rest of the year. Right. They're a joy to the owner of the gym because they pray that 80% of the people never come, but keep paying their membership. Right. But that's not what we're looking for. Right. We want to make sure everyone knows what to do. So you set them up for that. Like, here's your resources. Here's how you're going to achieve it. Here's the resources. Here's who you talk to if you run into an issue, and it's not me, the owner. It's the next one, right? And you show them how to achieve it. You set a date. Hey, so 30, 60, 90-day goal. We keep them short. When you get to that, now, neat, you got to that. You systemize this. Like I said, we want to help them systemize their business some more. What I do tell people, I go, so do you expect them, let's say they make $60,000 a year. Are they to do that for that same salary? Is that, again, we go back to when I said, you don't hire someone to systemize your business, right? They're coming to work. So we set a bonus at the end of that goal. Pick your dollar amount, pick your, whatever they're going to receive. So now they have additional incentive. Not only do they systemize that portion, that lane, they achieve the goal, they get rewarded for it, but they've also actually helped build that. Now they have additional buy-in in the company and the culture. Now you're moving everything towards that vision, achieving that vision. Okay, and as we get closer and everyone's achieving it, we can tweak it, we can add, we can subtract. That's all good. It's a living vision, right? But the important thing is everyone is working towards the same direction. Everyone has purpose, right? And that's how you change the culture in a business. Now they're all on the same page. They don't care about the mission statement, but they're also given the right directions and tools to achieve this. It isn't figure it out because no one's coming there to figure it out. So put all that together, and that's how you really can move things forward and get all the right people on the team.
Yeah. I know for us, that hiring process, like you said, it's a multi-step process. We're meeting with people, 3, 4 times before we make a decision. And we heard this once and it made sense, but it's slow to hire, quick to fire, right? Like,
Love it.
you bring somebody on and maybe, they go through that process. You're still going to bring people on who are not going to be a good fit. Like it'll be pretty apparent, typically for us, it's been pretty apparent early on that this isn't going to work out. There may have been a problem. We addressed it and it's still a problem later on. How do you fire somebody? Because that's a part that we were never trained in on, is if it's apparent that this is just not going to work out, how do you address letting somebody go in your business?
I'm going to make it really easy for you. Okay. We just talked about strategic vision.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
So, Todd, I got to talk to you, man. I mean, you're really not fulfilling the strategic vision. Okay. We're all working towards the same thing and you don't seem to be grasping this for whatever the reason is. It's really not important, but you're not able to fulfill the strategic vision. So we're going to actually let you go from the team. I go to the strategic vision because everybody's involved. Your lack of performance affects who's in front of you and who's behind you.
Right.
And we're a team and we're fulfilling vision and you have to do that. So I'm not abrasive. I'm not argumentative. I'm like, we have a vision here and they understand that from the hiring day, right? This is how we work here. And you see it evident in the culture and it makes it a lot easier. Now, if you don't have any of that, okay, you're going to do your 3 warnings, you do your verbal, you do the old school stuff. I was a little rough. Okay. I'm a Marine and kind of, you do it, you don't do it. If you don't do it, you die, that kind of thing, so I kind of have that mindset. I pretty much just said, you're out. Okay, like here, well, let me walk you to the door, right? You're just not doing this. We don't do that here. I had it's funny story. So I had an office manager. She was a Marine also, right? So great person, great office manager. I had this project manager who I had to let go. So he comes in, he caused a lot of problems. So I started talking to him. I'm at my desk. He's sitting in the chair in front of me. She's in the desk over here, right? Same office. He finally throws his hands up, gets up, just turns around in the middle of me talking and starts walking away. She flew over the desk, knifing him. You never turn your back on him. You sit back down on that chair. He was like a little kid. He just turned around and sat in the chair. And I just looked at him and said, now you're dismissed. And one of the greatest moments ever. Like, I'll never forget it. And she goes, I will not stand for that. I go, am I complaining? I go, that's the greatest thing ever. It was just one of those moments that was just awesome. So I don't recommend you do that. They'll put it as a normal firing practice, but in that situation, it was pretty cool. But there are times when you're always going to, people are, what do they call? Ticking time bombs. Mm-hmm. It's not if, it's when. When are they going to blow? And also remember that everybody leaves. That's another important thing when you're hiring people. It may be 5 years, maybe 5 months, maybe 5 days, 20 years, but they're all going to leave for whatever. And there's a myriad of reasons, and none of it matters, right? That's another reason why we systemize.
Right.
Just like you have to bring another person in. Look what it takes you to get these people trained up, right? If the culture isn't right, and Leah, you're spending a month training someone up just to do the basic sales, oh, man, now when's the ROI on that? How long do they have to stay till you just made your time and money back that you invested in, right? So strategic vision is another thing that increases retention in a big way. We all have a break even with a new hire, right? They're a liability until we turn them into an asset.
Right.
My goal, bringing the right people on the team, my opinion is they should be free. They're free to my company because they're producing above and beyond what I pay them. They are a true asset, just like if I had a rental property. I cover the mortgage, the replacements, and I make $500 a month. That's my asset, right? So we understand when do you get your return on investment? Is it 6 months? Are they there for a year? Are they there for 4 months? What does that look like? Again, that's part of your exit strategy as well, to jump back a little bit. You understand who you're hiring, why, because you could get someone who's great and you have to pay them a 6-figure salary, but you're not in the position to do that yet, but you're hamstringing yourself. So it's really a problem. So understanding that's really important, but you need to know you're investing in people.
Yep.
And it's not just make them super competent. What we believe in, what I teach our business owners is we want to elevate them as people as well. So yeah, you're super competent. I'll get you the certifications. I'll get you the training. I'll make you awesome. You'll be the king closer if you're in sales, whatever. I'll make you that. But I want you to improve as a person. Because if you improve as a person and you're competent, you're successful, you have purpose, you love coming to work, you're going to take that home to your family, and that is going to change your family. Your family's going to do what? They are in the community, right? So now they're in the community, they're affecting the community. So let's say my goal is to help 10,000 business owners create more freedom, profit, and impact. Well, it's more than 10,000, right? It's them, their family, the community. It's millions of people.
Right.
Because you built a business based around your people. Because then you can make a product, and you can provide a service, but who's doing that? That's what matters, inside the business. So that focus also can help you just have a very enjoyable work environment. And it can be hard, but hard work is good.
Yeah.
Teaming people up, because what's the number one bonding agent? Suffering. Suffering together draws people close. That's why guys coming back from combat, they're friends for life. Right? They lived it, right? They hate each other, but work's no different. I mean, I call business war. It's battle, right? You're always every day. You're trying to exist, right? You're trying to fight the competition and everything else. So if these people understand that, but they can work together closely, overcome stuff, achieve goals, but they had to work together to do it. You build those teams, they love it. It just builds a bond. They want to come there because they know someone else has got their back.
Yeah.
You're just not a number. You're not A into B for 8 hours, punch out, go home. You just built this business differently.
Yeah. I think that's a really important point, that everybody leaves at some point, right? Whether it's on their own or whether it's they were not a fit. And I think that's setting that up with the strategic vision and how do they fit in that, and having those goals for people and just having that all laid out really makes it more an objective decision rather than subjective.
Yeah.
And I know for us, like some of the very first hires we made was just all willy-nilly. And at one point, I remember this one guy, he just wasn't producing the result that we needed. And it got to a point where it's, okay, we're going to have to let you go. And now it was like an argument. Because he's like, well, why? I'm doing what you asked, right? I'm doing what you're supposed to do. And I'm like, yeah, but we're not getting the result that we want. And it's like, well, what am I doing wrong? And there was this back and forth. It was like an argument. Versus now where we've got a process where it's like, okay, well, you can see here and here and here, we asked you to do these things. You weren't doing them. We asked you to correct them and they're still not done. This is not going to be, this is not going to work out. And it's much more of, there's not that argument anymore because it's so much more objective.
Yeah, you have data, right? You have all the expectations. You have the job functions. You have everything. You can go right to it. Like you said, here on 1, 5, and 9, you're oblivious. Mm-hmm. You're not doing any of this. It's a very important part of what this is. And we've asked you numerous times and you're not able to fulfill the vision here. So again, I think that's so important in the beginning. I remember in 2000, so we're going to go back a little bit. The economy we had I think it was 5.6% unemployment, which at that time was like, if you weren't working, it's because you didn't want to. Mm-hmm. Everyone had a job you wanted to. And I'm trying to hire people. 7 people would call me for a job. And here's my response, okay, to go back to how you're saying, bring a pair of work boots and your lunch. I'll see you at 7 a.m. at the yard. That was my hiring process, okay? 7 calls in a day, no one showed up the next day.
Wow.
They're just checking the box, whether it's to get their benefits or whatever it is, right? I'm like, no one wants to work. Mm. And I'm going through these guys who should have never been on my cruise, right? And it was a stressful year. But that whole thing of no process. Mm-hmm. You know what I started doing? The first thing I said, you know what? I'm doing this wrong. I started going Home Depot and Lowe's, and I'm seeing the guys picking out materials. And hey, man, what do you do? He says, well, I work for this company, whatever. You like it? Yeah, it's okay. Huh? We do something similar, but we build these custom water features. It's kind of cool when you're outside, we're in people's homes. Oh, it's pretty neat. If you ever want to talk about it, man, just give me a holler. Mm. I give him a card. Mm. He's working. He's employed. He's doing something similar. What I'm doing, someone gave him responsibility to go pick up materials. Okay, so I like that. Okay, so he's somewhat competent. So I'm like, this is my new recruiting depot. It's not the Home Depot, it's the recruiting depot, right? So I started doing that. It really paid off. It really paid off well for me, So I'm like, and that's why I first started learning, I need someone who's working. All those unemployed people calling me and not showing up. I mean, bring a lunch. You get a job tomorrow. Mm-hmm. You should be super happy, and no one showed up. And it wasn't just once; it was multiple times. So exactly that process, that hiring process, detailed, make them work, make them earn the job. That's another big takeaway. They need to earn a position with you, not get a position.
Thank you so much. I think this has been such an awesome conversation for our folks. If they want to learn more about you, where should they head?
SharpenTheSpearCoaching.com.
Awesome. Thank you again, Richard. This has been great.
I love it. Thanks for having me, guys.
You've been listening to the Digital Trailblazer podcast. For show notes and information about today's guest, head to digitaltrailblazer.com. Now, if you love this episode, if you got some value, make sure you leave us a review and subscribe. And be sure to share this episode with anyone you know who could use help to build their business. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you next time.